This is another archival upload of my previous mix critique videos. Again, I apologize for the vertical format that this video is about to switch to. This is 51 through 55. This track was sent in by Mitchell. Let's check it out. The automatic arpeggio thing in the intro sounded cool, but it kind of hyped up the track way more than it should have, because that made it sound like it was about to kick into a really fast-paced track, and instead, when everything came in, it's just super slow. Honestly, I would have turned the song off at that point when everything came in, when I realized that all the energy in the intro was not going to continue through the track. That guitar tone is really painful. It's super harsh. You need to not mic your guitar speaker right in the center because it's just tons of painful high-end frequencies. I get that that tone is kind of a genre thing, but there's ways to get that like really bitey high-end black metal guitar tone without it sounding super, super harsh. All right, Mitchell, so overall the mix wasn't bad given the genre that it is. I think the biggest thing is I would have liked to hear more of the bass, and that guitar tone is just super, super harsh. Again, you can find a way to get that like high-end presence, bitey upper mid guitar sound without it sounding painful. But other than that, it was a pretty solid black metal mix. This track was sent in by Josh. So the tones are pretty solid so far. The things that are really sticking out to me are the drums aren't compressed enough. They're not as punchy as they could be. And the lead guitar line you have that's just kind of doing like little arpeggios over the top is a little too loud. It doesn't really sound like it's sitting in the mix, like it's sitting above the vocals. That definitely needs to come down a bit. And just the overall volume of the track is not quite loud enough, so you got to work on your mastering. Honestly, even the rhythm guitar is too loud, so you definitely got to back those guitars down a bit.
All from overhead, and we won't fall from overhead, and we won't even.
All right, Josh, it's a solid track songwriting-wise. Like, it's a really well-written song. The performances are all really tight, especially the vocal performance is fantastic. All the tones are really good, but the overall mix, there's a few things you can work on. Like, the drums need to hit way harder than they're hitting. That's probably mostly just a compression thing. I'm not really hearing the bass enough. The overall volume isn't great, so that's a mastering thing. And the guitars are way too loud. I mean, tell me your guitarist mixed the track without telling me your guitarist mixed the track. But overall, not bad at all. This track was sent in by Maxil. Let's check it out. The drums sound pretty good, but they're clearly samples. They're also mixed way too loud. They don't seem to really blend with the other instruments in the track tonally. Also, a little too much reverb. As soon as those drums actually kick in, there's a lot of mud just from all the reverb on them.
What's the moon of the stars? What's the trick in your head?
All right, I know you asked about the vocals. The vocals sound pretty good, other than the fact that you tried to fit way too many words in way too small of a space. And also, the additional backup vocals, like the stuff that's panned out to the sides, is way too loud. That sounds like that should be, supporting the main vocal. Instead, it's overpowering the main vocal. All right, so vocals sound good. The guitar tone's really good. The drums sound fake as fuck. They are mixed way too loud, and just everything, the entire track is just drowning in reverb and delay. Like, it's adding so much mud to everything. If you do one thing, back off the reverb and delay by like 70%. This track was sent in by Matthew. Let's check it out. I'm going to preface this by saying this is absolutely not my genre, so I may be talking out of my here, but everything just sounds like a mess. It sounds super jumbled. It sounds like you just kind of took random samples and just threw whatever you wanted in there. Nothing seems intentional. What did that poor cat do to you? All right, this is the first section that sounds cohesive so far. There's an actual steady rhythm. There's chords over the background that match what the vocals are doing. Like, this sounds like an actual song. Everything before this did not at all. See, now this section of the song is actually really catchy and sounds really good. Personally, I would just scrap the first 50 seconds of this track. As a listener, I would not have made it to the good part of the song because I would have turned it off already. And we're back into the random jumbled mess. Both the sections with the harsh vocals in it, it sounds like you just kind of searched like horror movie sound effects and just threw a bunch of shit in there. Like, it's bizarre. And like I said, I would not have gotten to that good part of the track because I would have already turned it off because of that first jumbled mess. The track was sent in by Garrett. Let's check it out. Loving this so far. Great intro, and then it hits this heavy chuggy part. Everything sounds really good tonally. The performances are tight. Great so far. Dude, I love this guitar tone. Honestly, from a mix perspective, the only problem I'm hearing so far is really more mastering, just your overall volume's a little quiet. All the tones sound great, all the relational levels of the instruments are good, drums are really punchy, cutting through nice, guitars sound great, vocals sound great. This is a really good mix.
I'd rather die with broke than live a life that I love.
All right, Garrett, I'm gonna be straight with you. Before I actually listened to that, I saw the length of it and I was like, dude, why the fuck is your song this long? But I enjoyed every second of that. That was a really awesome fucking track. The mix sounds great. I literally wouldn't change a single thing about the mix other than the overall output volume. Just songwriting wise, that was a really great song. Like, it was kind of straightforward, but like it was just interesting enough. There were just enough unexpected things in there to keep my attention through the whole song. This is a really well written song. This is a really solid mix, and I would probably go as far as to say this is so far my absolute favorite submission that I've gotten.